huge leap in U.S. debt. Each household in the United States is 12% deeper in the red. Taxpayers are on the hook for an extra $55,000 a household just to cover rising federal commitments made just in the past year for retirement benefits, the national debt, and other government promises. The 12% rise in red ink in 2008 stems from an explosion of federal borrowing during the recession, an aging population driving up the costs of Social Security and Medicare. That's the biggest leap in the long-term burden on taxpayers since the Medicare prescription drug benefit was added in 2003. The latest increase raises federal obligations to a new record of $546,668 per household in 2008, and that's not counting this year. That's quadruple what the average U.S. household owes for all mortgages, credit cards, car loans, and all other debts combined. We have a huge implicit mortgage on every household in America, except unlike a real mortgage, it's not backed up by a house. It's not backed up by anything. The bottom line, the government took on $6.8 trillion in new obligations in 2008, pushing the total owed to a record $63.8 trillion. That's a whole lot of money. And how is it going to be paid back? Who's going to pay it back? And when is it going to be paid back? The numbers measure what's needed today. Set aside in a lump sum, earning interest to pay benefits that won't be covered by future taxes. So then, Congress could or can reduce or increase the burden by changing laws that determine taxes and benefits for programs such as Medicare and Social Security. Representative Jim Cooper, Democrat, Tennessee, says exploding debt has focused attention on the government's financial challenges. More and more people are worried about our fiscal future, he said. How much debt can this country take on? How many more trillions or billions can it afford to spend without planning for the future or how it's going to be paid back? Social Security, it will grow by approximately 1 million to 2 million beneficiaries a year from 2008 through 2032, up from 500,000 a year in the 1990s. Its actuaries say average benefit $12,089 in 2008. And then there's Medicare. More than 1 million a year will enroll starting in 2011, when the first baby boomer turns 65. Average 2008 benefit $11,018. Retirement programs. And Congress has not set aside any money to pay military and civil servant pensions or health care for retirees. These unfunded obligations have increased an average of $300 billion a year since 2003 and now stand at $5.3 trillion. That is obligations for each household now amounts to a record $546,000, 668, and that's per household, and that's in 2008, and it's probably even more this year. Is the USA taking on more debt than it can handle? Probably so. It's very likely. The debt burden is becoming too high. Who's going to pay this back? How is it going to be paid back? Or are there any plans for that in the future? Or is it just spend as much money as you can for the present to try and save the day? Or because of the recession, the depression, or whatever have you call it. There are fundamental problems with the United States economy. Actually, all the economies of the world. They're based on scarcity of resources. Again, these are all signs, more signs of the end times, transition days. The transition is real. The transition is happening. Everything that must change, it must change rapidly. And these are all more signs happening day by day all around the world.